So what marriage tips would you give to a newlywed couple? We had that opportunity recently at our own daughter's wedding, and so that's what we're going to share with you today.
Hey, welcome everybody to the Side by Side Business Podcast. This is episode number 44. We are Larry and Sue. We're your hosts. And this is going to be a really fun one because we had, I think, what is a pretty rare opportunity that just happened recently. In case you haven't heard, one of our daughters just got married just a couple of weeks ago at the time of this recording.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago today at the time of the recording.
Yes. And it was
almost right about now.
Yes.
Not quite.
And it was, of course, a beautiful ceremony.
Yes.
A great wedding.
Very God honoring. The people that were there, the people in the wedding party were amazing people. It was really fun to get to know them, getting to know our son-in-laws. We have a son-in-law.
I know.
Getting to know our son-in-law's parents. That was all just amazing.
Yes. And so we haven't uploaded a video for just a little while. And now you know why.
Yes.
Because that was a whirlwind of activity. And again, it was just a blast. And we're so thankful to the Lord for allowing our daughter to find the husband that is just perfect for her. And our daughter did several things really that were really touching.
Yeah.
And were really cool along the way. I guess we could talk about those if that comes up. But the primary thing for today, though, is that she asked the two of us to speak at the reception and to give a speech.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a short speech. She didn't want us to say, she didn't want us to talk for an hour like we're used to.
She denied my request for a 45-minute time slot with PowerPoint and everything. So that was a little bit rude of her, but I'm starting to get over it. But,
oh my goodness.
But, we've definitely, at receptions, we've seen the maid of honor, we've seen the best man give speeches, and even on occasion, the father of the bride giving a little charge to the couple or something. Mm-hmm. But I don't ever remember seeing the mother and the father of the bride do that.
Nope.
But when we had the opportunity, we didn't pass it up.
That's right. I don't pass up an open mic. So she offered it. So we took her up on it. And it was really such an honor to be able to share that day. And we decided to share our top 10 words of wisdom for a newlywed couple, our top 10 tips on marriage.
And just to be clear, that was her request that we share some words of wisdom. Yes. We came up with the top 10 idea.
That's right. Thank you.
And really that kind of came because we didn't have 45 minutes to share. I don't think this episode is going to go 45 minutes, but it'll go longer than what we spoke at the reception. Yeah. And it was a little bit frustrating to just kind of throw out a point and not really be able to elaborate on it. But now we're going to be able to elaborate on it just a little bit here. And so that's the intro. So we're going to do this from number 10 down to number 1. And so why don't you go and get us kicked off with the number 10?
So number 10 is to look at your differences as a positive and not a negative. It's really easy to see the ways that your spouse is different from you and to think that is somehow holding you back, or that's the problem in our relationship, or why can't you think like me? But God did that on purpose. He put you two together on purpose. So your differences are actually a strength.
And I think sometimes people even think is God playing some joke on us here? Is God intentionally trying to create a difficult circumstance? But he's, I don't know, in some ways he is.
I mean, that's part of the purpose is that we can rub the rough edges off of each other. Yes. We talk about that a lot, that the differences between us allow us to learn how to interact well with people who don't think like us or who are different from us. And that's a good skill to have.
Yes. And just, as we're thinking about this, we're talking about there's just differences between men and women. Mm-hmm. It's undeniable the way that we think and the way that we act and the way we process information. So you just start off with that. Mm-hmm. But then you talk about the different personality types, the different communication styles, different love languages, all those type of things. And the marriage relationship is designed to help us to learn to be selfless because we are so selfish just naturally. And so whenever, I mean, it could be something really minor, like what show we're going to watch together. There's a real difference on what kind of shows we like. So we have to find that common ground. And then it goes all the way up to much bigger things, like where we're going to live, what we're going to do for a living, how we're going to interact if we are a married couple working together. Those type of things. So yeah, that was a good one to start with.
Yeah. All right.
Any more you want to add to that?
No, I think that was covered pretty well. So what's number 9?
So then the number 9 thing is to dream together. And we encourage all couples to do that. So what I'm talking about here is, setting big goals together, thinking about the future. What do we want to accomplish? What has God called us to do? There's so much wrapped up into that as we start learning like who we are and who our spouse is. And we start seeing, hey, I think maybe God's directing us this path or that path. But it's really important that the couple, like the dreaming process is just as important as what you're dreaming to accomplish.
Yeah.
So in other words, the process of us sitting down and for me to ask you questions like, in 5 years, like, where would you like to be living? What would you like to be doing?
And of course, as a newlywed couple that we were talking to, that's going to include a lot of real basics of life.
Right.
When do we want to have children? How many children do we want to have? Where do we want to live? Where do we want to raise our family? And then moving into the career choices that we make and what, in our case, what business are we going to run? That type of thing.
And I would just like as a real specific example here, I know that as we've talked about this relatively recently, I think within the last few months, we've been married 36 years at this stage. And there was something whenever I asked that type of a question that kind of surprised me. And I should have known it, but like your real dream is to go speaking around the country and to get in front of audiences and to minister to people that direction and such. And as soon as you said it, I was kind of like, wow, that surprised me. And I thought about it for a few seconds. I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And my dream is to sit behind a computer and write. And so those two things actually go very well together.
They really do. You could write my speeches.
Well, if I can get some books written, then we go on tour to talk about the books or on tour, what I mean.
You know what I mean.
With the 18 people that show up, but that's fine. But really that is, so that's how we dream together. And we just really encourage everyone to do this. And especially as, the earlier on in the relationship, the better.
But it's never too late.
But it's never too late. Thank you for saying that.
We've been married 36 years and we're doing something new.
We are. And we're still dreaming about the future.
Yeah.
So, all right.
All right.
Number 8.
Number 8 is slow and steady wins the race. And in this, what we wanted to drive home was you don't have to be in a hurry to accomplish those dreams that you have. Yes, you should work toward them. You also shouldn't just sit back and wait for it to fall in your lap because that's really not how the world works. And so, yes, you have to work for them, but don't be in a hurry. Don't feel like you're racing and you got to compare yourself to, well, I've got to reach this goal by, this stage because that's what so-and-so did. Well, so-and-so isn't you. And God's probably got a different plan for your life, which is just as amazing as what you've seen other people do. And so as you dream, and as you begin working towards it, you don't want to go too fast. You don't want to go too slow. You want to go at the pace that God leads you in and just keep up with God and you'll be in a really good shape and you'll enjoy the journey. When you're not in a hurry and not feeling frantic about it, you can enjoy the journey together.
And what is that saying? Comparison is the thief of joy.
Yes, and it absolutely is.
So stop comparing yourself to other people. Some people wait until they're a little bit older before they start their entrepreneurship journey, like what we did, or whatever it is that you've got going on in life. And I know that we have been very slow over the years with our growth, with our business, and with the steps that we take back. So that's just part of the journey. And really, the journey is the goal, really, when it comes down to it.
That's right. And how you take the journey is what demonstrates your character.
Yes.
trying to think of the right word.
Yeah, that's a good one. Good way to say it.
All right.
All right. So we
Number
have to
7.
number 7. Okay.
Yes.
This is probably my favorite one, actually.
Oh, it's a good one.
Number 7 is laugh a lot.
Yeah.
All right. So have fun. So while you're dreaming and you're working towards those goals and you're taking your time along the way, you can't forget to continue to enjoy your life. Enjoy
each other. Yeah.
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 And, I think about this a lot of times as we kind of look back a little bit because we're at that age now, but just thinking about.
You make us sound so old. We're
know,
not that old.
I guess
but
we do
have some life to look back on, which is good for us.
Yes.
We've gained some wisdom.
As our youngest is 19.
Yes.
And he's talking about moving out, and he would be the last of our kids to move out. Thinking back, we had a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. We have had a lot of fun. We still have a lot of fun as a family mm-hmm. when we jump on video calls or when we're able to be in person, like at the wedding. It was just a blast just to see the kids and all the kids doing just amazing things and all of that. But just thinking about the married couple now. Mm-hmm. So for men especially, all right. So men, I'm going to talk to you right now. There's this kind of, I don't know how exactly to phrase it, but there's this excitement about winning over the woman that you love. And then on the wedding day, it's like, I have won. I'm the victor. Mm-hmm. There are all these guys who wanted to marry her, but I won and I married her. And then we have this tendency to go like, okay, that's accomplished, goal's done. And so I really want to encourage you guys to continue to woo her. Mm-hmm. All right. So you've won her, but keep wooing her. Mm-hmm. And that means keep dating, keep things fresh. I know there were so many years that you were in the trenches with changing diapers mm-hmm. and trying to figure out like, if we're going to have macaroni and cheese or ramen noodles for supper tonight, it's this big decision between all of these, just kind of
we had a lot more than ramen noodles and macaroni and cheese for dinner, but yes.
We did. Actually, you fed us very well on a very small amount of money for a long time.
Yeah.
And so I'm joking when I say that, but like all of those minute decisions about mm-hmm. what are we going to have for dinner and how are we going to, you took care of the personal finances. And so how are we going to pay the electric bill? And, mm-hmm. and again, mm-hmm. just sometimes when I'd come home, you'd be like, like, no adult conversation all day and mm-hmm. just in the throes of all that. And so I really did kind of feel like part of my job was to make sure that you laughed and that you were mm-hmm. having fun and you had mm-hmm. some relaxation. And sometimes that meant, here's the car keys. We'll see you later. And give you just a little bit of free time. But more often than not, it was us doing something together as a family, going to the park, just playing outside, watching a movie together.
Well, sometimes it was you taking the kids and doing the whole bedtime routine. And story time and all of that so that I could take a bubble bath and relax.
Yes.
That was very nice.
Yes. And so just want to encourage both as a husband and wife, think about what are some things that you enjoy doing. Maybe you haven't done it for a little while and bring that up to your spouse. Mm-hmm. We went years without going to the movie theater, but we both like doing it. Mm-hmm. Now we're at a stage where it's a little bit easier for us to do that. So maybe it's just something simple like that. Maybe it's something that your spouse really enjoys doing, but they haven't been able to do that for years because of just busyness and such. Make that happen. Mm-hmm. Try to figure that out. And it could be really simple things, mm-hmm. but it can mean a lot. So again, just encourage you to have a lot of fun and don't forget that play aspect of life and to be laughing a lot.
Something you said at the reception, I think is really kind of a good, succinct way to say this is don't let the cares of the world get you down. Mm. Do whatever you have to do to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yes. Because they'll still be there.
Yeah, right.
When you get back from the theater or
and
whatever.
You don't have to be sad about it.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, number 6. And this one is a really important one. It's probably the most important one, even though it's not maybe the favorite one. But it's forgive often. And because you're two humans that are living together, you are going to sin against each other at some point in your relationship, at some point in your marriage. And it's going to happen more than once. It's really good to, first of all, overlook the minor things, the things that are
Mhm.
just irritations that just bug you. Just overlook it. You don't even have to really go through that whole big process of forgiving. And by the way, most of the things are minor things.
Yeah.
So just remember that. But when forgiveness is needed, when forgiveness is requested, give it freely. It frees both of you up to continue to enjoy your relationship with each other.
Yeah, and this is really powerful,
It
actually,
is. Mhm.
because we can, all of us can do this. We can start majoring on those minors.
Yes.
We can blow things up out of proportion just because we're annoyed or frustrated, or maybe we're just tired
Mhm.
at the moment. And so the default needs to be to overlook the offense. And there's a
Mhm.
scripture to that. Do you have that in our notes here?
It is to God, it is to your glory to overlook an offense. I know it's in the Proverbs, but I can't remember where it is.
Yeah, it's not in our
Look it
notes.
up. Look it up. It's not
Yeah,
in
I
our
think
notes,
it's, yeah, okay. We'll just go ahead and leave that there. I was going to say another verse, but I'm not sure I have it exactly, so I'm not going to try to quote it. But anyway, it's biblical.
yes.
So overlook those things. If and I'm going to put a plug in now for a program or a book that we read, and then there was a whole family devotion
series, yeah.
guide that kind of went through it, called The Peacemaker,
Yeah.
by Ken Sande, Sande, and that is the bigger, thicker, more difficult to
It's the
consume
grown-up
book.
It's the grown-up book.
And then what we really like is one that his wife wrote called The Young Peacemaker. And we went through that with the kids, and it just helps. It helps the kids to talk about how to deal with conflict. And man, I learned a lot along the way. And now, as we teach that in our coaching and such, we actually teach the Young Peacemaker version of that.
Well, it's got such great visuals.
It does.
And so the visuals are amazing. And so this whole concept of seeking for and granting forgiveness, this is all a part of peacemaking in the home.
Yeah.
And they go, that could be a whole episode. Anyway, we won't go there, but
it would actually be a really good episode. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I think that'll just lead really nicely into, was it number 5 now? Yeah. Because sometimes you can't just overlook the offense.
Right. Not everything is minor.
Right. Not everything is minor. And sometimes those minor things, once they've happened 27 times in the last week, maybe they become a little bit more major. And so the number 5 word of wisdom here is to talk through those major things. Mm-hmm. And that may seem really obvious, but it is shocking to us how many times we've done it, but how many times we have counsel or work with people on things that, like, have you talked to your spouse about this? No. Okay. Do you realize that you're getting really bitter about this, and you're growing more and more angry about this? And then what's going to happen is you're just going to blow up, right?
Right.
And then that's not going to help anybody. And it's not going to help to address the issue at all.
When you don't talk about something, then what happens is you end up assigning motive to whatever has happened, or whatever has been said or done.
Never a good motive.
Right. And no, that's right. And you feel like they did it to me. That person did that thing to me. So just a very small example. I used to get, really upset because the kids couldn't see that I was really worn out sometimes, and they would just keep coming to me and keep asking things and keep, wanting, and mom, can I have, and mom, can I, and mom, can I? And I would start thinking, why are you doing this to me? You're really frustrating me. Well, they weren't doing it to me. They were just doing what kids do.
Yeah. And
sometimes we can really build up in our own mind that what's happening is that my spouse is doing this thing, whatever it is, not closing the drawers or not doing the dishes or whatever, to me, to make me upset. They probably aren't even thinking about you in that moment. And so
you're getting real life here, because I don't know how long it was into our marriage. It was probably within the first year or two, whatever. At some point you came to me and you just said, every time you go to close like the sock drawer, you just leave it just like this a little bit open.
Like why do you leave it that far open?
And I didn't realize that I was doing it. I didn't realize that it bothered her that much. And I'm like, I can push the drawer closed. That's fine. And every once in a while now, I'll catch myself doing it still.
And every once in a while, you do it for fun.
I do it sometimes for fun.
And I can laugh about it now.
Sometimes when the windshield wipers are running, I'll stop. I'll turn off the engine with the windshield wipers kind of like halfway, like right across the windshield.
That is so irritating.
And that's totally just a driver crazy. So that was back to the laugh a lot, but make sure you do that in a way that doesn't really make your spouse mad. But so you need to talk through things, and sometimes that's difficult to have a conversation like this. So let's just kind of walk through that just kind of briefly here. Let's say there's something that is something really major, hurt really bad that your spouse did. And so the best way that we know of to approach this is to go to your spouse and say, hey, there's something I want to talk to you about. And it's something where we're going to need some undivided attention for a little while. So is this a good time? Or you want me to come back? Now, like if it's the ninth inning of a playoff game.
I wouldn't approach you then.
Yes, you wouldn't approach me then.
I know that now.
But like if you would approach me and you weren't aware of that, then I would just say, do you mind if I finish the ball game?
Yeah.
Because something like that, right. And so then once you have undivided attention, phones away, TV is off and everything, kids are in bed, all of that good stuff, then that's whenever you could just have this discussion. And you want to approach it calmly. You want to be very direct, but you want to be really kind with your words.
Yeah.
If you need to, and this is something that really has helped me over the years, is practice it.
Yeah.
That kind of feels silly a little bit, like, just like saying the words out loud. And it's like, oh, no, that's not going to come across the way I want them to.
The phrasing.
Write down some notes. There's nothing wrong with making sure that you word things the proper way so it really reflects your heart.
Yeah. And one of the things that I have done before, and I think you've probably done it too, is to say, I'm going to say something that it might not feel very good to hear it, or it might be hard for you to hear it.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you say that, it kind of gives that person a moment to prepare to hear it, but it also communicates to them that you're not saying it because you know it's hurtful. You're saying it despite the fact that it's hurtful, because you know that it's going to get you to the other side, and you're going to be able to talk through everything and walk through it together. And that little bit right there can really diffuse what could become an explosive conversation. And if you do all you can to diffuse it early, you have a much better chance of being able to talk through everything really calmly and with a good attitude and open to hearing what your spouse has to say.
Yeah. So the person who has been offended can say, can we talk? And then, okay, I need to say something. This may sting a little bit. I don't mean it to. I'm doing this because I love you, and I think we need to work through this. It's really important to me. And then share that information. And I know for me, it takes me a while to process things. And so there's times as the receiver of that, there's times I have to say, can I chew on this for just a little bit? Let this marinate, and then I'll come back to you. But the person who's receiving it, that can be really hard as well.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about a good way to receive?
Well, I think, I'm kind of reminded about our conversation with Jim and Andrea. And when Andrea talked about assuming the best.
Yes.
Assuming that, like, I know that you are not doing this to hurt me.
Yeah.
Assuming that you want to talk about this because you want to make our relationship better.
Yeah.
And having that attitude can really make all the difference.
Yeah.
And so, that really brought up Andrea's comment for me as you were talking there. It was
that was episode 42.
Yeah, that was.
You can go back,
yeah,
and take a look at that interview we had with Jim and Andrea Cockrum. So, as you communicate, there's really two different kinds of problems that you will have to address at times. Sometimes the problem is with your spouse, and that doesn't mean that your spouse is not the problem. The problem is with them. Maybe it's something they did, maybe it's something they said, maybe it's whatever, something along those lines. And in those cases, we do say you need to get knee to knee, if you think about that, eye to eye, and just look, right directly face to face to one another and have that conversation directly. But many, many, many times the problem is an external issue. It's a financial problem. So instead of saying you're overspending, really the problem is that you're spending more money than what is coming in. And so there's an external problem that we can attack that problem together, shoulder to shoulder, side by side. And there's something even about that, like physically to sit next to each other, and you can almost picture like the problem is out there, and how are we as a team going to fight that problem? And so, yes, maybe one member of the marriage is overspending right now.
And maybe the problem is you don't have a good budget. And so the solution to that problem is coming up with a good budget together.
Yes.
Maybe the problem is that you're not earning enough money. Yeah. And so the solution needs to be, we need to brainstorm some ways to bring in some more income.
Yeah.
And when you look at it that way, that the problem is something to do with the money, you can attack that problem together without attacking each other.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
And
right.
Money can be a big one.
It is a big one. It almost is for everybody. So
yeah.
All right. I think we covered that one pretty well.
Yes. All right. Number 4 is listen first. We love this verse from James. James 1:19 says, "Know this, my beloved brothers, let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, and slow to anger." And I love the next verse. I don't have that one written down, but I'm pretty sure it says, "For the wrath of man does not produce the righteousness of God." It's something like that.
That's correct.
You can double check me, but if as Christians we desire the best for our spouse, for our family members, and we know that getting angry with them isn't going to produce that righteousness that we would love to see in them. So God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, and I think we should use them proportionately.
Yes. That is a great reminder. And just kind of on this, and again, I'm going to reference back again to Jim and Andrea, and because we talked about this a little bit in that conversation that we had with him. But there was a time where we had a big decision to make around our business and whether to continue on with it. And anyway, or for me to go take a full-time job, there was quite a bit surrounding all that. And so we were seeking counsel, which is a good thing to do.
Yes.
And we were asking several different people. And Jim Cockrum is somebody that we consider a mentor of ours. And so we called him, we were talking to him on the phone. So it's the 2 of us on the phone with him. And so I kind of spelled all this out, and he kind of paused for a minute, and he just said, "Well, Larry, what does Sue say?" And I was like, "Well, I had to think about it." And I was like, "Well, Sue doesn't want me to take the job. She wants to keep going on with the business, whatever." And he just said, "Larry, listen to your wife, dude. What do you even need me for?" And so as we have kind of fleshed that out a little bit more, and Jim talked about that in an interview, is that, so husbands, you need to think about this. Your wife has this special intuition about certain things. I can't put my finger on it. Do you understand it?
I mean, just a gut feeling. I don't know. Yeah. It's my gut.
It's my gut. Yeah.
I mean, I do think that some of it comes from that sensitivity that we have as women, because we tend to be more emotionally in tune. And so we pick up on things that a little bit faster than guys tend to pick up on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, guys can have a tendency to be more fact driven and trying to push the emotion away totally. And like in that particular situation, I know that oh man, there was so much surrounding that as far as like.
Well, part of it was, what was my attitude about it? Like, was I fearful about not taking the job? Did I have the confidence that we could fight through and stay in business and make it? There's a lot of that came into play. And so, the fact that I was saying, yes, let's keep building the business, that gave us freedom to go ahead and pursue it, because you knew I wasn't looking for failure all the time.
Right. Yeah. And there is a tendency, as I'm sure we've got a lot of entrepreneurs who are tuning into this, there's a tendency for the men to be bigger risk takers and for the wives to be needing more financial security. And so that would be, because that was around work and around money and everything. I think that as Jim was saying, if Sue's on board with this, then dude, you should be on board with it as well. So there was that. One last little story on that one is that as part of us seeking out counsel, we actually talked to our kids about it as well.
Oh.
Our two oldest kids, I remember they were out of high school by that stage, and they were actually working jobs and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we asked them, there's kind of like, that's fine. Whatever you want to do, take the job, keep the business going, whatever. Our two youngest kids were probably a little bit too young to really understand what that was going to look like.
Situation. Yeah.
But our middle daughter, the one who just got married, by the way, she was super quiet during that conversation, which was not 100% normal for her, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so I think maybe you said, Esther, what do you think?
Mm-hmm.
And she just broke out in tears and she said, I don't want you to take it.
Yeah.
I don't want you to take it. And I think that was the final thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe I hadn't even listened to Jim yet by that stage.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we were just like, okay, all the evidence is pointing that direction.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I just think, listening first, listening to each other and listening to counsel is really
Did you already say this? I knew we were talking. There's so many verses about this, but the one that says, one person seems to be right until you hear the other, the other person
18.
present.
Mm-hmm.
It's true that we think we're right in our ideas around something, but if our spouse has a different idea, sometimes when you talk with your spouse, you get convinced, oh no, you're right. Or more often than not, what happens is you find a third option that is really right.
Right.
And so
it's not always binary.
No. That was a big lesson for me. Okay, that could be another podcast. All right. So listen to your wife, dude. All right, number 3.
All right. So number 3 then is to be generous. And that may sound like really strange advice to give to a newlywed couple, because most of the time when you start off, you don't have a lot of cash. And most of the time when we think about being generous, we're thinking about giving money to people. But I've really been challenged on this recently. And so that's why I wanted to include this, is that you can be generous with a lot more than just money. Don't get me wrong. If you got $10,000 to donate to somebody, I'll send you my PayPal account here pretty shortly. But so money can be super beneficial to people if you can be generous that way. But there's so much more.
Oh, for sure.
Your time, your energy, your gifts,
your words,
talents, your abilities, your words.
Yeah.
I love that. And this can be, goodness gracious, this can be such simple little things. Like, if you go somewhere and you see somebody who's by themselves and they look like they're just kind of down, can you go over and just give them a smile and say hi? Can you, I don't know what else. Can you start a conversation with that person? Yeah. And I'm thinking even holding the door open for somebody as you go into the store.
There's so many little generous acts that we can do that don't take any more energy than what we're doing anyway. You're walking past somebody. It doesn't take any more energy to smile at them.
Right.
You are, whatever, all the way to bigger things. I think about meals were a big thing. Sure. For much of our married life, being able to give meals to people who, were dealing with an illness or had a new baby or whatever. And just being that kind of generous of, hey, I can double the recipe I'm cooking tonight and bring half of it to them and bless them. And that really doesn't take a lot more energy.
Yeah. And this is going to be maybe self-serving here a little bit. And as I'm talking about giving and being generous, but little things like for content creators, do you know how valuable it is for you to like something and to subscribe to something, to put a positive comment on something,
leave a review.
It is like gold to content creators. And so that's something I know how much we desire to have that on, if you're watching this on YouTube or if you listen to it on Apple or Spotify, to get those ratings. It is difficult.
Yeah.
It is really tough. So I've been much more intentional lately about giving likes, making comments on people's posts on social media, just different things like that to be supportive.
Replying to emails from an email list, just replying and saying, hey, love this, whatever it is. That we get a few people who respond to our emails, and that is just like it's like fuel for us, you know. It's
Absolutely.
just like, oh
Yeah.
I can't wait to write the next email, you know.
And it doesn't cost a penny
No.
to do that,
No.
you know. And so the other thing is, you know, there are, especially the last few weeks, we were just talking about this in another group, is that when you put your opinions out there and such, the people who are upset about that are really just like, they're fast with the keyboard to just rip you to shred. But then you think, like, where's all the people who are like-minded, who have my back, right? So if you see somebody who is really being bold about their faith, or about I don't know, just about
their ideas,
whatever their
ideas
position,
are,
to make a positive comment and to support them is a way of being generous, for sure. So like and subscribe.
Yeah. So being generous is a huge thing.
And I want to say one more thing, because I also want to get credit to somebody that I've just started following him here recently. His name is Vincent Puglisi, and he is totallifefreedom.com. You can check him out. But he has something that he calls the hour of giving. And I love this idea.
Yeah.
So the first hour of his day, he spends just doing some of these things that I was just talking about, these giving things. It can be making a positive comment, replying to an email, like you're saying. It can be reaching out to somebody just through Messenger or something like that, somebody you haven't heard from for a while.
Right. Send an encouraging verse to, or just one encouraging statement.
If you think of somebody who lost a loved one a year ago, you know, everybody forgets about, you know, it's a big deal initially. And then we all have a tendency to forget about that after a while. So reach out to somebody like that. You could just come up with a list in an hour. That's like really powerful. A good use of that time, a good way to be generous. So.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. And then the next one, number 2, fits right in with this, and that is be grateful. Develop an attitude of gratitude. And being grateful is another thing that doesn't take a lot of extra energy.
Right.
It doesn't take, it's not a project that you have to do. It's just being thankful. And so when somebody does something generous for you, expressing your gratitude to that person is the right thing to do. And just saying thank you. Just saying, you know, I appreciate that. I see what you did and I appreciate that. Also being grateful to God for all the blessings that he has given you. I mean, honestly, it totally depends on where we're looking. We can look at the same life and we can say, wow, what an amazing experience life. What a blessing, you know, that person had in this or that and this and that. We can look at the same, and other people can look at that same life and say, oh, wow, what a miserable life. That's terrible, you know, for so many variety of reasons, either, you know, because they were rich or because they were poor, because they were, you know, they lived here or they lived there. You know, we can just think that we can look at the same thing. So it really depends on how we're looking at things, and it's how we look in our own lives. There's a little poem I heard one time that said, something like 2 men were sitting in prison looking out the bars. One saw mud and the other saw stars. And it's because of where they were looking. And so you can look for the mud or you can look for the stars. And if you look for the stars, your life is going to be a lot more enjoyable, because you're going to be thinking about the things that you're grateful for, and expressing that gratitude is a really valuable thing to do. And so one of the things that we have done is keeping a journal by our bed at night. And at night, we just write down 3 things that we were thankful for. And for the newlyweds, especially, we said, make one of those things about your spouse. Something that your spouse did or said or whatever, something about your spouse's personality that you're grateful for today. And boy, it's hard to be mad at somebody that you're grateful for.
I think that is a great practical tip that anybody could do. Takes 5 minutes.
At the most.
Something like that. And then it's kind of fun when you're having a bad day, go back and pull that journal out and start reading some of the previous days, and it will help to bring you out of that for sure.
And you'll discover at the end of even a bad day, you can probably find 3 things to be grateful for.
Right.
And when you can find 3 things to be grateful for, even on a bad day, it doesn't quite feel so bad.
Always got, you know, the air that we breathe. The sun came up today. I mean, there's always something, but a lot of times you can go much deeper than that. So.
All right.
You ready?
Number one. Or are we going to do a drum roll? Drum roll.
The number one word of wisdom that we gave to this newly married couple was to keep Christ at the center of their home. Mm-hmm. Because none of that other stuff makes any difference at all if you aren't doing it with Christ in the center. Yeah. We're going to be doing a series of podcasts here soon on Psalm 127. And that says, Psalm 127:1 says, unless the Lord builds the house, those who build it labor in vain. And we'll dig into that a lot further. But unless the Lord is doing the work and you're doing the work with him, you're doing it for nothing. And it's just worthless. So there's a lot of people, for example, when we go back to some of these on the list, there are a lot of these people who are giving a lot of money. Let's say, for example, they're I don't know, showing gratitude to the universe, quote unquote. But at the end of the day, all that is just vanity. It's nothing if you don't do it with the Lord. And so fortunately, we're very thankful that our daughter has married another believer, that they already have a church home that they're members of. But one of the things, and that they're serving there, they work with children. little children. And so we're very thankful that they've already got that going for them. But we also know, like many couples who it's like, yeah, we haven't been to church for a while. We really should do that. We just encourage you all to get plugged into a good Bible believing, Bible preaching church, to be really good members of that church. I'm in leadership at our church, and I'll just tell you, it is so encouraging to have people who just come on a regular basis, who say encouraging things, who serve, who do things without even being asked. Again, that's kind of going back to some of the things that we've talked about, being generous with time and energy and such. And so be regular attenders, be members of that church, serve there together as a couple, and just look for other opportunities, because God will open up other doors for you to serve. And I would just say that so also we encourage couples to have Bible study together, private Bible study together. But I would say the absolute number one thing that we would tell people to do, if you're saying, like, what's the one thing I can start with? That is to pray together as a couple. What's that take? 5 minutes? Maybe 10 minutes? Take an hour if you want. But, but just getting into that habit of praying together every single day. And I would say the last maybe 2 years, we've been very intentional about that. And I would say probably 5 days a week. Yeah. We did it as a family for a long time. And during that time, we kind of left doing it as a couple. Yes. And we've come back to doing it as a couple. And what a blessing that has been. Yeah. So as we go to prayer, we are humbling ourselves. We're saying, God, you are the creator of the universe. You are God. I am not. I need you. And you will then open up your heart, and to do that in front of your spouse, you just get knit closer together, and you're praying for each other. You're praying for your kids. You're praying for, the things that you're doing. And so it just helps tremendously. There was a statistic that I saw at one point, and I've seen it actually several times, so I think that it is accurate, that out of couples who end up getting divorced, whenever they're polled, like, do you pray together? It's like way less than 1% of them who, like, if you're praying on a regular basis, it's pretty much divorce proofing your marriage. Yeah. And we don't really ever talk about divorce as being like, oh, you need to avoid that. We don't even consider it. And so there's but I throw that out there just to say that if you want to secure your relationship as a couple and make sure that it's going to last, pray together is your absolute number one thing. And that will help you to keep Christ as the center of your relationship in your home. And that makes it easier to do all of these things. Yes, right. That we've talked about today. And to do them with purpose and with meaning. Yeah. So, all right. Well, we've gone a little bit longer than usual, but we dove really deep into these topics, and we hope that this has been an encouragement for you. And before we wrap up, I would love to hear comments from anybody. What would you have added to this list?
Yeah.
I'm sure we could make a list of 50 things or
Mm-hmm.
100 things. So we would love to hear from you. What would you make number 11, or maybe something you would make higher up on the list even? And yeah, we don't have all the wisdom. That's why I said at the reception, our daughter asked us to share words of wisdom. That was a little bit presumptuous, assuming that we had some wisdom to actually share. But we've learned a few things over the decades.
Yeah,
so.
God's been good to us.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
So we hope that you are going to take this, share it with your friends.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe, leave a comment, all those things. And we hope that you'll take the information that you got today, what you have learned, and go build your business
side by side.